Hello, everybody.
What's good? What's good?
Was that good?
Howdy.
That was good. That was really good.
It was.
Thanks.
Emphatic, actually. Emphatic.
I held that for
It
a
was.
minute there, and I've got a
Yeah.
raspy voice today, so that was solid. But anyway, well, my name is Tim Daniel. His name is Ben Brown, and for the first time ever, her name is Sydney Price. And welcome to Riverfront 500 week.
Yeah.
My Reds, baby. Woo! Yeah, we got my guy Stephen Offenbaker in the chat. We got Pat Magooch who's already asked us about 10,000 questions we got to get to. And also, before we get into all of that, we got to let you guys know, of course, Ben, who's this episode brought to you by?
Oh, it's I believe it's SeatGeek.
SeatGeek?
Where you can get $20 off your first SeatGeek order by using the code Riverfront. Help your boys out. Help your boys out.
Help your boys out. And where are we going to be next week? Oh, gee, I don't know. Is it the stretch for Riverfront 500?
Yes, indeedy. We will all be in the building.
Yes. Saturday, September 9th, 4 p.m. Eastern, the stretch at the Banks. It'll be Riverfront 500. And we're going to be talking about the Reds. We're going to be talking about the Bengals. We're going to be joined by our good friend Stephen Bob Baker's co-host, Jeff Carr. I will be joining Stephen Offenbaker this week on Locked On Reds. So we're doing a little home and home, as the college kids call it. So we have a really fun week. And also, Joe Farfsing is doing a live Bengals show this week to get us ready for week one. Things are wild this week at the Riverfront.
Man. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of things going on. Reds is in the playoff hunt. Bengals kicking off. We got UC kicked off yesterday.
They won the Big 12 already, right?
Yeah, I was going to say Big 12
something
champs,
like
right?
that.
Big 12 champs.
Yeah, something like that.
Right?
They didn't?
Emory Jones for Heisman is what I heard.
Hey, Heisman watch, right? Like
yeah.
He's easily top 3, right?
Yeah.
Top 3 up there with Travis Hunter, and that is Shooter.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're so excited to have that going on. But funny enough, we're actually going to start this show with a little sort of kind of ish football talk, because we got to give some love to former Cincinnati Red Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, 20.5-point underdogs going into TCU, the national runner-up, and letting people know it's real. Ben, I'm a believer in Coach Prime.
Hey, man, listen. He told you all he was bringing his luggage, and it was Louis. And I think that was the text I sent today. Like, it's hard to believe that someone can come in. Well, it's hard to believe that somebody can come into a Division I program and have over, I think it was, they said like 80 kids either new or transferred in or recruited, and have that kind of impact week one. I mean, TCU had 7 of their 11 returning starters on defense. I mean, it looked like they were playing against the high school team. I mean, they did whatever they wanted to. So whatever magic Coach Prime has, whatever, and I shouldn't say magic. There is a method to his madness. There is a system that he has in place where he is able to get guys to believe in what they do. And good coaches do that. Good coaches have that ability to draw from all walks of life, get all guys to buy into one thing and one thing only. And that's what he's teaching, what he's preaching, and what his staff is coaching. And there's the results.
Yeah. You know what I really thought it was? All right, that's the start of Riverfront 500 week right there.
It sure is.
Yeah. What a way! What a way! A little Dion. Must be the money. Oh yeah, that's the way you kick it off.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this week, folks, as I mentioned, if you checked us out on Twitter at Late Reds this week, in celebration of Riverfront 500 week, we are going to be bringing back an old favorite seg of mine, Eleanor Trivia.
Hey.
So this is how the game goes. If you don't know, now you know. The first person in the chat to answer this question correctly, which will reveal the answer at the end of the show, and we'll reveal the winner, will be given up to $50 in merchandise from the Riverfront Cincy.com. Sydney can attest to this. She's rocking some Riverfront Cincy merch today. You know,
there it is.
She went all out. So it's pretty easy. All right. It's actually like probably one of the more simple answers I've ever had of a trivia question of all time. So in 1997, Deion Sanders had 56 stolen bases, which is tied for 29th all time in a single season for the Reds. What former Red also had 56 stolen bases in a season to tie primetime? So, first person to answer, we will get it marked. We will go ahead and announce at the end of the show. We'll let you know the winner, and then you can DM me or email us what you're wanting from there, and I will take care of it. It'll be on the house via Riverfront Cincinnati. But you guys want to talk baseball, and I want to talk some baseball. And we had a series this weekend that had some fun and some not so fun and some great and some not so great against the stupid, idiot, dumb Chicago stupid face Cubs.
Are we sure it's Chicago, not Mason Cubs?
Yeah.
From what I heard today.
Depending how you look at a map, Mason and Chicago are relatively close to each other, depending how you look at the map.
Right.
I mean, they're closer than they are to China. So
yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for yet another most important series of the season. I feel like we hear that like every weekend now, depending like what media you look at. But in 4 games, the Reds only scored 12 total runs. They left 27 runners on base. They went 8 and 31 runners in scoring position in the bullpen and let 10 inherited runners score. And yet they still pulled off 2 games and have the tiebreaker now with the Cubbies for the playoff spot. Normally when I do that slide, I do the whole like go game by game by game, but I thought this would just be a little easier because it was like a mosh podge of a series. There was so much good and so much irritating and frustrating. Ellie De La Cruz yesterday having a 3-hit game. Noel V. Marte with the walk-off like on Friday night. Nick Martini hitting the home run that saves the season once again, because he's Captain America of Cincinnati Reds baseball while Jonathan India's out. Man, TJ Antone comes back, and he's going to be the opener tomorrow on Monday. So we're going to get to that a little bit here when we talk about the Seattle series. But Benny, Sydney, we're going to bring Sydney into the convo here as well. It's a series that could have been, it's a summary of this season. It's a series that could have been way better. It's also a series that could have been way worse.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have turned out really bad. I mean, without a couple of clutch hits, one by Ellie, to tie the game last night, and they had to walk off last night, and then they had Marte on Friday night. So I mean, you don't get those 2 hits, and you lose those games. I mean, I'm not saying that your wild card run is over, but it's on life support. I mean, it's on life support. So to split the series the way that they did, and truth be told, I mean, their roster is getting better, but it's getting thinner. You know what I mean? Like we're losing guys left and right. Guys are getting hurt. Guys are going on. We had a couple guys go on COVID. So I mean, we're scratching and clawing with guys that we just picked up off the waiver wire. I mean, with Bader and gosh dang, his name's
Renfroe.
With Renfroe, I mean, we're
not the wide receiver of the Raiders. Just so
different guy, different guy. But I mean, we're scraping a lineup together. We get hit with the COVID list, then we're scraping a lineup together to try to win baseball games, and to win 2 out of 4 against the Cubs and now have the tiebreaker. I mean, you got to call that a win for the series. I mean, that's a win for the series, a win for the Reds, because, like we said, a couple not hits going our way, and we're looking at life support for as far as trying to make that wild card and still trying to make a little push for the Central.
Sydney, what do you take away from this 4-game series?
So, I mean, sure, we had, like you showed, the runners getting thrown out, not being productive with runners in scoring position. That's going to be frustrating all day long. But it was nice to see Spires come out here and have a good start today. It started rough, and he had a couple of rough patches, but what do you expect from a guy being called up straight from AA? It was pretty good for a like you pointed out, Ben, a replacement player because of COVID. And we're starting to be hit with a lot of different things, whether it be the COVID list, whether it be now we've lost Matt McLean for possibly the season. We've now also lost possibly Graham Ashcraft for the season. So now this rotation is really who? Ben Lively got put on the COVID list. So you've got who? You've got who at this point? We're gonna have to have a spot start from, as Pat Magooch said it, the Braveheart extra, TJ Antone tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. He was good in his debut out of the pen.
He was.
I'm happy to see him back, but I don't know how much you can rely on him after 2 Tommy Johns and being gone for over 2 years. I would love to rely on him, but I don't know if you can. But it was, like you said, a lot of ups and downs, because between that and between waiting for the waiver wire to come through and seeing, hey, we did get 2 players, but also the Guardians stole everyone I really wanted. But yeah. I mean, you just have to keep scratching and clawing. Keep scratching and clawing. Keep getting every win you can the rest of the season, because every win is going to matter, and it's going to come down to, are we going to possibly be playing on October 2nd, October 3rd, whenever, those games are, or is our season going to end on October 1st in good old-fashioned St. Louis?
You know who really, really annoyed the hell out of me this weekend? Ian Happ.
Ian Hackers.
God, I hate him. I mean, Ian, if you're Google your name and this comes by and you're see that a Reds podcast said this, I'm sure you're a nice guy. I mean, you're from
a QC.
I'm sure you're a nice guy.
Okay.
I know you're from Pittsburgh, which I'm gonna give you another strike for that.
Yeah.
But can you stop? You play for a franchise that's won a World Series in the last decade. Let us have a turn, okay? Quit being a jerk when you play against the Reds. All right, knock it off, okay?
Please.
Yeah, tired of seeing that guy.
Yeah,
me too. I was hoping, before he's on that extension, get mosey on over here.
Yeah.
Seeing as how he's basically Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
When he plays at Great American Ballpark. So I mean, but he had to sign that stupid extension.
You aren't lying.
No.
You know what the COVID list really took away from me that really, really upset me though is so Hunter Green was projected to start tomorrow.
Yes.
You know how excited I was for Hunter Green versus Julio Rodriguez, and now we don't get it.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, that would have been incredible.
Yeah. The run Julio's on right now, which is asinine, and Hunter Green looking really good in that Giants start. It was this will be great.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid coronavirus.
2023.
I won't even drink Corona beers ever again. Won't be having any of those at the stretch.
No,
tell you that much.
That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is for sure.
But all joking aside, that is a good Cubs team. They're playing really well right now. Mm-hmm. But I think that one of the things we it's an issue. It's a well-known issue, but I don't know if we've discussed enough this season. Is this whole thing with the bullpen and just like, oh hey, we're coming in and there's runners on. Let's just let them hop on it and touch home plate right now, and like that's really starting to come back and bite them in the ass. And the bullpen was so strong for so long. I'm sure they are gassed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that was good. That was going to be my point, man. Like they have pitched a ton of innings. Just from the not even saying the unreliability of our starters, just the fact that we've had to start guys that honestly just weren't good. You know, when you had Hunter Green down, you'd lose Ladola for the year. Now you've got Graham Ashcraft who's hurt. Like those guys have had to pitch a ton of innings. And it's been, we've had runs where Lucas Sims was hurt. We've had runs where, you're losing different relievers and we've had to move other guys in.
Alex Young.
Yeah, Alex Young. We have just been, it's been, our pitching staff has been kind of hit with that bug. And, is that an excuse? No, but they've logged a lot of miles. They logged a lot of miles this year.
Yeah, they have. And I give them credit for everything they've done, but it's starting to show. And this Seattle series where you're starting your three starters are TJ Antone, oh my God,
Connor Phillips.
Yeah, Phillips.
And then Lyon Richardson, who and I'm excited about Phillips and Richardson's future, very much. But
absolutely,
in a series like this, where the good news is, I'm not. We'll get to that. That's a segment later in the show. But anyway, I hate you, Cubs, and you're a bunch of jerk face McGee's. Your song is stupid. The only cool thing from Chicago, actually, I like a lot of things from Chicago. The only not cool thing from Chicago is the Cubs. I love the Bulls. I love the Blackhawks. I actually like the White Sox to an extent,
Yeah, the White Sox are fine. I'm just happy, much like the Brewers, to hopefully not see them again the rest of the season.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Be gone.
Yep. Let's see. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about this real quick because let's have some fun talks here, guys. Let's talk about our guy T Steve, we were talking 2 weeks ago about should we have local Luke getting more starts?
Yeah.
And T Steve said, to hell with that.
He said, prove him wrong. Prove him wrong. Yeah, he's been on a tear, man. He's been on an absolute tear.
So, last 15 games, 1.076 OPS, 3 homers, 8 ribbies, 351 batting average, 400 on base percentage, and he brought his OPS up to 710. So, they couldn't have come at a better time for what this team needs.
Yeah.
But the question is this a flash in the pan, or has he figured something out here?
I think he's started to figure some things out. And I hate to it sounds like a broken record, but for him to get meaningful at bats now is starting to pay some dividends. I think that the way that he's approaching his at bats now are been a lot different. And I think he's had to because of the shifts in the lineup, the guys that you lost in that lineup, and the things that he's had to do in order to come through for a lot of different hits in different ways. So it's the gift and the curse, right? You lose McClain, you lose some of these other guys in the lineup, but Tyler Stevenson starts to play well. So I think it's something that he's kind of grown accustomed to, and he's done in the last 15 games, he's done really well.
Yeah, he has done really well here over the past 15 games. And, this is why you continue to try to let him figure things out. Try to, you deal with the struggles that he has had. And, I hope he's figured things out. We'll see how he does against some really good at least starters.
Yeah.
And they have some dogs in the bullpen for Seattle. Might be
Mhm.
getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I mean, we'll see how he does against Seattle, and I feel like that'll say a lot about
Yeah.
is this a flash or is this something he's figured out, and you know he's going to be able to carry it the last like month plus.
Yeah, I mean, because they're going to need it. I mean, if McLean is
Absolutely.
out for the year, you know, Fraley's not 100%. You know, so I mean, you're losing a couple big bats in that lineup, so he's going to need to play at a high level to finish out these last 20 some odd games in order for them to
And I
continue to
mean,
make this run.
someone's going to have to carry us. Someone's going to
Yeah.
have to get hot like this.
Yeah.
Someone's going to have to do it. Whether it be him, whether it be Ellie, whether it be whoever, someone's going to have to, you know, step up and sort of be the player we think they are. Because we can't continue having these like 2 or 3 run performances and then, you know, our rotation or pitcher's not getting it done. We can't continue to do that if we want to make the postseason.
Yep.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's obviously a lot of the conversation as far as I'm still all for Luke Maley, you know, getting a starter for the week. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I actually am kind of like unfavorable of bring local Luke back.
Absolutely.
It sounds like there's that conversation where he wants to come back. If you saw that thing he did with Giesenslaw, as far as like riding to the ballpark, that was cool. I dug that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Ben and I know he's from one of our local schools.
Yeah.
But I just kind of, you know, I think that's, you know, what it's working right now. And I know his defense is still, well, it leaves a lot to be desired is the conversation we're going to have as far as Tyler Stevenson's defense, probably for his career. Ryan Hannigan, he is not behind the plate, but Ryan Hannigan, he is not at the bat either. So you can live with that. But I do think that this has been awesome to see today. Had a 3-hit game, hit a homer today. He's got double-digit homers. And, you know, the track record says that, you know, this is what we've seen this last 15 to 30 games is really who he is at the plate. I mean, 2021, he was really, really good. 2022, obviously, he only played about, you know, 40 games with all the injuries he had, but he was awesome. He was super good. Like, he probably would have been an all-star.
Absolutely.
Eddie had a healthy season last year. So I tend to believe that this is who he is. I don't know if he's a 1,000 OPS guy. Maybe that's a little asinine of me to say. But I do think he's a good hitter. I think he's always, you know, I think that, you know, I've broken my collarbone and it took a long time for me to adjust. And I was not a major leaguer playing catcher. Remember last year, the goofy conversation was, should he play first base? Remember that whole thing?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was dumb. With CES and Spencer Steer now.
Yeah.
By the way, we didn't talk about this. I thought Spencer Steer played a pretty decent second base this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, I've thought he's played okay. You know, he's had a couple of misplays, but that's because he's never really played second. So it's going to come with time, like anyone else.
Yeah. So I'm looking through the comments here, and I saw Carrick has some really good questions I want to get to. But Pat has brought a lot of questions in, which finally I've been waiting for a point in the show that I could finally use my new sound bit that I brought in. Shout out the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Now, at exactly what point did we lose control here?
Like, it was like 2 hours before this was even supposed to start. Pat
fired up. That's awesome.
Fired up.
Yeah. So Carrick did ask, do you expect Votto back this season? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hopefully this weekend, because we are going to all be at the game Saturday. And I think that, you know, it'd be nice for him to play on his 40th birthday. And most importantly, we selfishly really want to see him play again this year.
Mm-hmm.
And like Sydney said, they need someone to get hot, and why couldn't it be him?
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then Carrick also says, I think giving a little practice, Steer could be above average defensively anywhere. He's just a ball player. And I totally agree with that.
Yes.
I think he is the dude that's like, I'll figure it out. Like, I don't think he's necessarily been great in left field, but you can put him there and feel comfortable. So that's been solid. By the way, one other thing I forgot to mention, we were talking about the Cubs series earlier because I was like, oh crap, my laptop's dying. I need to go run to my charger real quick. Harrison Bader stealing third last night.
That was huge.
Dude,
yeah, it was.
I very rarely have moments when I'm watching a baseball game at my house and I fist pump, like full on like Kobe Bryant hitting the buzzer beater. But that was one of those moments. I was like,
that was huge.
Yeah.
Especially with the fact that Friedel was getting ready to just like sacrifice himself there. Since he stole third and, they challenged that, but he was safe. Thankfully, he didn't have to give himself up, and we just got the train rolling until Renfroe ended up just being this much safe to win the game. Just this much.
It's the greatest walk-off fielder's choice of all time.
I'm not here to disagree with facts.
No.
Just spitting facts here, folks. Just spitting facts.
Amen.
All right, so I want to kind of go through this. So last week we started kind of breaking down the people the Reds are in the race with and kind of what they're looking at week by week as far as their schedule. So I went ahead and actually put every team they're kind of in competition for playoff spots with together. I say this because the Brewers are obviously probably going to win the Central by like tomorrow, especially when you look at their schedule for the month. But I just kind of want to go through each team and kind of get your guys' thoughts on what we're looking at here. And we'll start with the Brewers. So the Brewers don't exactly have murderer's row the rest of the year. Their opponent winning percentage is right around 48%, but that's literally because of the Cubs being 9 games of 500. So they got the Pirates, the Yankees, the Marlins, the Nationals, the Cardinals, and the Cubs left. They have a 48% winning percentage. And the way the Brewers pitch, I think they probably got another 15, 16 wins in them. They're probably an 86, 87 win team, whatever. Maybe a 90 win team.
I mean, I expect New York to probably win a game, if not two, from that.
Yeah.
From them.
Is that Yankee Stadium?
New York's been, and it's at Yankee Stadium. They've been doing good since they, sort of shifted gears and have called up, the Martian and Austin Wells. They've been doing well there. Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's Pittsburgh. The rest of it is basically, Miami. I guess they're technically still in contention, but
wait till we see that schedule. Oh my God. My God.
You've got Washington, who's they're just chilling. Who would have predicted they would have had the same record as the Padres, or right around there as of right now? Not I.
No.
And then you've got St. Louis, who's on their downward, and the Cubs, who we hate.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's sort of just a lose-lose series. Might just want the Brewers to win because we're that far out of it.
They might have the division clinched at that point. Like,
yep.
Those 7 games with the Cardinals, I don't think they're necessarily they're losing sleep over and sweating when they wake up. So
no.
I hope.
Yeah, I do. I do. But here's what the Cubs got coming up here. So 30, dude, what the hell is this? All right. This balanced schedule is bullshit. Okay. They have 6 Rockies games still, and the Pirates. They have the Pirates and the Rockies in one homestand.
Yeah, that's tough. But I will say this: to finish your season in Atlanta and in Milwaukee, dude. That's if Milwaukee had not, if Milwaukee, I mean, I'm sure they'll be clinched by then, but still, and you have to go to Arizona, who's playing well. All teams that are kind of in the hunt.
They got the Giants and Diamondbacks this week.
Yeah, so I mean, they've got some.
Yeah.
They've got some tough games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think the Giants and Diamondbacks are good. They're playing well. I just don't think they're necessarily really good teams. But if they want to go win, 2 out of 3 and 3 out of 4 like they did against us, you two teams last week, what you did
Make
to
it
us, do it to them too. We won't be too upset. As a matter of fact, we'd appreciate it. All right, so that's the division portion of it. Let's look at the Diamondbacks. What is this shit? What is this?
Gosh.
The Rockies again. Why are these teams allowed to play the Rockies this late in the year?
Why can't we? Why can't we?
Yeah.
Where's our Rockies? Where's our Rockies?
We get the Rockies in July.
Right.
Yeah. I don't care about you stupid Rockies in July.
Oh, that's hilarious.
What happens when you play the Rockies in July? You have a 12-game win streak. You know what happens when you play God.
Hey, and who cares about the stupid 12-game win streak at this point? Come on.
Yeah, so the Diamondbacks have the Rockies. They got the Cubbies for 4, like we mentioned. They have the Mets for 4. It's not too often you see back-to-back 4-game sets. They have the Cubs again, the Giants, the Yankees, the White Sox. Come on. Really? Really? And then they end the year with the Astros, which depending what the Astros look like at that point, because they're in a three-team race in their division, could make things really interesting. Opponent winning percentage of 47%.
We're getting closer to better.
Yeah.
Closer to harder.
So the Giants,
still not great.
The Giants' opponents combined the rest of the year are literally 500. Literally,
500.
Yeah, right down the middle. So you got they just finished up a set with the Padres where they got swept by the Padres.
They get the flipping Rockies too.
Yeah, everyone gets the Rockies. Yeah. We got
where's our Rockies?
We got open.
I mean, not only home and away. Like they got 6 games left. The Rockies.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah. Oprah's out there like, you get the Rockies, and you get the Rockies,
right?
And you get the Rockies.
What the heck, man? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
that's wild.
I know. What the H? So they've got, again, the Cubs, the Rockies, the Guardians. I forgot to put the Guardians record in there, so that probably would change the 500 thing. Come on, Tim, get your shit together.
Yeah.
The Rockies, the Diamondbacks for 2. They go to the Dodgers for 4.
Yeah.
And then they end the year with the Pot. I think they're gonna fall out. I don't know how they keep up.
They have, it looks like 7 with the Dodgers, so that's going to be rough.
Yeah.
The Cubs, hopefully they can get the best of the Cubs because I would like nothing more to see the Cubs just fall out of this race. But then you've got Colorado, you've got San Diego. A little gimmies there, a little bit.
Yeah. But San Diego did just sweep them, so maybe San Diego's like putting it together at the worst time of year.
At the absolute
it's
worst.
It's a little too late.
Yeah.
It is a little too late to be trying to put it together.
Yeah, absolute worst time of the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's look at this. Oh my God. This is the Marlins schedule for the rest of the year. So the Marlins are 70 and 67. So this is literally the next 2 weeks. At home, they got the Dodgers for 3. Then they go to Philly for 3. Then they go to Milwaukee for 4. Then they have the Braves. That's 20 games that you have that stretch. I would like to say that I think the Marlins are cooked.
Yeah.
I would like to say I agree with you. And, it's been a nice season.
Yeah, it's been fun.
For their GM, or however you pronounce your last name. And, we'll see him again next year with your Perez and gang.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's toast for sure. Oh, man.
Yeah.
And they don't get the Rockies.
No, this is the first time I haven't seen the Rockies. Where are they at?
They get the opposite of the Rockies.
Yeah.
I noticed I didn't put the Phillies, but I don't think we're catching the Phillies for that wild card spot. I think they might have that in the bag as well. But just so we have it for reference, so this is what the rest of their schedule looks like. So they've got San Diego on the road tomorrow through Wednesday. Come home from Miami, 4 games with the Braves next week because they have a doubleheader. They go to St. Louis, go back to Atlanta, have the Mets for 4, have the Pirates for 3, and end the year with the Mets for a 3-game set. So
yeah, that's not.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You got 7 Braves games in a week.
Not great.
Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob.
No. But then again, you also have 7 Mets games. So, you go 7-7 in those, you stay afloat.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals and the Pirates. But hey, here's where the optimism kicks in, folks. And I know we've been burned by this before. But if you could somehow get through like this Mariners series with 2 wins, somehow they just somehow got 2 wins against the Cubs by scoring 4 runs in those games, 5 runs that they won. But you got Seattle for 3. After that, look, you got St. Louis, Detroit, the Mets. The Twins series is a little tricky, obviously, because they're pretty good. You got the Pirates for the last homestand of the year. You got the Guardians games, which I'll be at one of those Guardians games, and you got St. Louis. So their combined opponent winning percentage for any of the year is 48%. But a lot of that is literally because the Mariners are 18 games above 500. Because they just went on this amazing tear post-trade deadline where Julio Rodriguez couldn't get out. And I'm not exaggerating when I say he couldn't get out. I'm pretty sure no one got him out.
Yeah. He hit like 1 million home runs or something. I mean, are we sure he's Julio Rodriguez and not, Ken Griffey Jr. 2.0?
I mean, he could be
that's
both.
How he's playing.
He could be both.
Yeah, he's been incredible in that stretch.
I feel like Seattle Mariners center fielders are like Notre Dame football tight ends, where it's like we'll throw some guy out there and he's going to end up awesome. It's like, Griffey Jr., Mike Cameron, Kyle Rudolph, Tyler Eifert, Michael Mayer. You're like, okay, so it's one and the same.
They're just going to keep pumping out, amazing generational center fielders.
Right.
Apparently.
Well, that means that like 12 years of their career, they go to Cincinnati. So
what I'm also hearing by this amazing stretch by Seattle is they're due. It's a little bit slow down, a little bit come back to earth a little bit.
Yeah. Please.
That's what I'm hearing. Please, dear God. I'm not asking for much here.
All right, that would be really nice.
It sure would be.
But I feel okay about this. Granted, there's some ground to make up. And there's all the injuries and everything's kind of gone wrong for the team the last month. But
I'm just waiting for the 20-game win streak by the Cardinals to come take it away like they did last time I looked at the schedule and was like, hey, how easy is the rest of the schedule?
Yeah.
Cardinals come and take it all away.
Assholes.
The devil birds. Screw them.
Yeah. Oh man, that was awesome. So we got Seattle coming to town like we've just been talking about, and that means some old friends are coming to town.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Luis Castillo is not pitching in this series.
I'm kind of upset about that.
I am too.
Now I'll say this. I mean, I'm upset, but I'm not because I'm still, of course, rooting for the Reds, but like, I would love to send Luis Castillo pitch. Like, I enjoy watching him pitch anyway, but
yeah, one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, for sure.
Tim, I think you're missing someone from this slide.
No, I'm not.
You sure?
Nope. I said friends.
Another former Red. Yeah.
I said friends.
You said friends.
Luke Weaver tried his best. I'm sure of it.
Listen, Tim said what he said.
I heard what he said.
Tim said what he said.
We definitely didn't have this conversation in the DMs prior to the show.
Nope. Not one bit. But I brought up the dudes that are definitely going to get like a tribute thank you video for their times here. And I'm excited for that because those guys definitely deserve their flowers for what they did in Cincinnati. Yeah. I know Gino, Gino had the shortstop experiment, which never should have happened, but also was a guy that like hit 48 home runs in a year and, was an all-star here. Luis Castillo, also an all-star here, had, Cy Young candidacy seasons in Cincinnati.
A lot of big moments.
Yeah, man. we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I said like in all the trades the Reds made, I was very okay with them. Luis Castillo is the one that I was like, I would have been very okay if he somehow stayed on this team.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I think
he
we
could have
talked
been a
about
difference
that.
maker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love Noel V. Marte. I think he's great. And I'm very happy he's part of the team. Yeah, and I love Connor Phillips.
Yeah.
But yeah, Luis Castillo in a Reds jersey forever would have been fantastic.
I mean, speaking of Suarez, he's having a really good season defensively.
Yeah. I know. What the hell happened there?
I don't know what happened. Maybe, it's like he should have been a third baseman all along, and we shouldn't have just tried moving him to shortstop after like 6 years of him never playing there. We should have signed an actual shortstop that year or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy, but he's in the running for Gold Glove over there in the American League for third base. So
yeah, that's because the other Gold Glove third basemen don't play with gloves apparently. Rafael Devers, nah. Ooh, real quick before we get to this, National League MVP. What do you guys think right now? Because this is the first time in months this week that someone took the betting favorites away from Ronald Acuna and Mookie Betts because he's had this tear. But as of yesterday, Ronald Acuna is back in the lead for National League MVP. I think this is the greatest National League MVP race since the Sosa McGuire season.
And I mean, between, you've got those two, you've also got Freddie Freeman. And then the fact that we're not even talking
about Austin Riley.
About Austin Riley, or let's talk about who's leading batting average in Luis Arias. He's not getting MVP love because, his team's not that great, but, it's not often you see guys batting 350 for an entire season, at least anymore.
No.
I mean, my favorite would definitely be Acuna, because if you do something that has never been done before in a 30 and 60 season, I mean, that's it. I don't care what anyone else has done. That's it.
Yeah. He also got married and then hit a laser.
I know. Did you
saw that? It was like 121 miles off the bat or something.
Yeah. Incredible. I mean, just crushed.
Insane.
Man. I mean, I love both players. I know Ben and I have a really good friend who's a huge Braves fan, and I was like, hey, so Mookie Betts took the betting favorites leading the National League MVP. Oh, I said the wrong thing, apparently.
What happened?
He was like, well, him and Freeman are going to take votes from each other, and Acuna's had the better year. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm on your side here.
Hey,
okay?
man, listen, we believe in Ronald Acuna. Like, trust me, we believe in him.
Hey, we believe in him because we have the second coming of him, all right?
Yeah.
Cool down.
Exactly. So earlier in the show, we did bring up the late night Reds trivia question, which again, in 1997, when Deion Sanders had 56 stolen bases, which is tied for 29th all time in a single season for the Reds, what former Red also had 56 stolen bases in a season to tie prime time? Our good friend and listener, Josh Beckley, thank you for hanging out. You 100% got it correct. It was Billy Hamilton. Billy Hamilton not only stole 56 in 14, in 15, he stole 57. In 16, he stole 58. And in 17, he stole 59. So, Josh, please make sure you send an email to the team at riverfrontcincy.com or DM me at TimDaniel518 or at Late Reds, and we will get your prize to you. Yeah, up to $50 and Riverfront merch. We're happy to send your way to celebrate Riverfront 500 week. I don't know if I'm like accidentally not purposely excluding Sydney from this conversation, Ben. But I think since we've talked about him enough in the show and we've still got like 15 minutes left of our normal scheduled time, I think we should kind of talk about that. I don't think people really remember that Deion Sanders was actually a pretty damn good Major League Baseball player for a time there.
Yeah, he was. He was like, it's so crazy to think about his impact on a game. Like I don't know, a lot of people remember, but this dude like played in a Super Bowl and a World Series, like in a playoff game and in a World Series game, like in the same day. Like he was like he was incredible. I mean, on the bases, could hit the baseball for average. Was a threat on the bases, of course, with his just incredible speed. Was a I mean, he was a great outfielder. I mean, Dion could really do it all. I mean, he was a really good baseball player.
Yeah. So I was at the game. You might remember this in '97 when he was chasing the ball and he was playing left field and it bounced off his head in foul territory. I was at that game.
Were you really?
Yeah. There's two things I remember very vividly from that game. That and they're playing the Cubs and Willie Green hit a grand slam into the yellow seats at Riverfront. And those two things like stood out to me more than anything. It was one of those games I went to with my dad, so I have like very fond memories of. But that was awesome, man. Yeah, it was so deep. So like I think like part of the for me, so we'll take you back to '97 here. I was about to turn 8, and I was like, wait a minute, this guy plays for the Cowboys and the Reds, and he plays both sports. It's like, that's the coolest thing I ever heard. Do you remember they sold the t-shirts where you could get like, there was like the dual licensing, or it was probably illegal at the time, and I didn't know a difference.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Of like his Cowboys gear with his bandana and the Reds gear. So that was always cool. I have a buddy in the organization who told me a story about when Dion was here, and I don't want to name names in case he doesn't want it to get out. But he told a cool story about one of his first seasons with the club was '97, that he was working as a grounds crew member. And I guess I was like, did you ever get to talk to him? Because like Dion, Griffey, and Penny Hardaway, for anyone who knows me, knows like those are my guys. Like if you say anything bad about those three to me, like drop the gloves. We're throwing hands straight up. And I was like, what was, Dion like? He's like, surprisingly, he didn't talk to us as much. He was very flashy, like coming in and out of the clubhouse. Like, but when the football season started and he was going back and forth and he wasn't here as much, he like one time came into the grounds crew office, had this huge box of batting gloves and was like, hey, thanks for everything you guys did. Dumped them on the desk and was like, you guys take whatever you want. So like,
oh, wow.
People in the Reds ground crew have the prime time batting gloves.
Oh wow,
that's so cool.
You know how much I would love to have those sitting behind me, just like chilling. Like,
no big deal. I just have some batting gloves that Primetime used to use.
Yeah. But like, I think he's a one of a kind athlete, man. I know there's Bo Jackson, and Bo Jackson was probably a better player at both sports. But dudes like that, they're just special athletes. It's so cool to see, especially when they are playing for your favorite team and they make really terrible rap songs. Why did you guys let me produce a show?
I don't know.
That's awesome.
I don't know. Whoever decided this, whether it be Chad, whether it be Nate.
Yeah, it's one of those guys. I'm sure Nate will text me tomorrow after he listens to this. All right, guys. So I know Pat left to go to work. But we did also get a bunch of questions that he asked me at 7:30 today. So we're going to go through these because we got 10 minutes before we get out of here. First one. My middle name is Tim, actually.
Oh, so, a lot of people don't know that.
Oh.
That's fast. Does anybody know your first name?
I know you do.
I do for a fact.
Yeah, because you were the officiant at my wedding.
Absolutely.
I don't know what kind of car Chad drives. Okay, this one's difficult. Favorite brand of mustard. There's like that spicy? Is it spicy? It's like Honey Dijon. Is that the name of the company?
I don't think that's the name of the company, but that's like a type of mustard.
There is a title. Yeah, there's a type of mustard.
Yeah.
Okay. Coke or Pepsi? I go Coke. White or black socks? I kind of go both.
Yeah.
Favorite month? I go July. Birthday month,
Okay.
All-Star game.
Yeah.
How do I like my steak? Medium well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Favorite Bengals player. Now, is this all time or is this current?
I mean, I feel like we can sort of go current and all time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you got to do both.
Okay.
I mean, I know for me, current is going to be DJ Reader. He's my favorite. I'm always a sucker for the linemen, as a former lineman myself.
Oh yeah,
Reader's my guy. All time. I mean, how can I go anyone else but Ocho? I mean, how can I go anyone else but Chad and Johnson? Come on.
That's a good one.
So current, I'm gonna stick same position for mine. Current, I'm gonna go T. Higgins because I do think he's like super underrated. Just because who he plays with, he's also incredible. But all time, I guess same build. I'm gonna go with Adriel Jeremiah Green because I think people forget how unbelievable he was in his prime.
He is a forgotten man. Like I was thinking about that because he's going to be week 2's like Roar the Jungle guy or whatever. Yeah. And like I hate the fact that he played on some really bad Bengals teams because he was so good, and people forget how good he was.
Yeah, he absolutely was. One of my favorite players ever. Pizza bagels or hot pockets? It's pizza bagels. I don't like it in my mouth burned to death. Go-to dance move. All right, I had to check with Grace on this one because I didn't know. But I think I had to go because we've been, as everyone who knows me, I love the Goofy movie, one of my all-time favorites.
Yes.
Showed it to Iris today for the first time in her life, so started quick.
Absolutely.
The perfect cast. Perfect cast.
Absolutely.
I think I did it at my wedding, actually. Yeah. Would I get a pair as a pet? No, I don't like birds. And also that has to do with the Pirates. What did I eat for dinner? I had Little Caesars. Don't judge me.
Oh man, I miss a good Little Caesars pizza.
Right.
They're so slept on.
Would you jump out of a tree for $50? I jump out of a tree for like $12.
Yeah. I don't know where you think our standards are, but $50, yeah, sure. I'll jump out of it if you're just going to record it and put it on YouTube. Shoot.
Yeah.
So I guess because I went there, I can go ahead and bring back.
Now, at exactly what point did we lose control here?
Yeah. Lawrence Pennington is very upset. Bullpen sucks tonight, period. Our Redlegs can't help themselves at all. Turn the game off in the 8th. I did turn the game off early today. It was not fun.
No, it was not fun.
I hate Ian Happ very much. Still. But hey, I'm so stoked about this week. This is mine and Ben's rookie year at the Riverfront, and we've had so much fun with Chad and Nate, and I guess we've had fun with Joe Farsing. He's okay, I guess.
He's fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna. I don't know. Are you doing the Bengals show Wednesday?
I'm gonna try to. He hasn't set a time yet, but if it's a time that I can do, I'm definitely gonna try to hop on.
Cool. It could be live.
Yeah.
Also, hey, want to give a quick shout out to everything going on at the Riverfront. So, like we mentioned those, but we had our first credentialed college football game this week. Shout out Ryan Roberts and Ryan Lester. Thank you guys so much for all your hard work at UC's Big 12 championship game against Eastern Kentucky.
Man.
They didn't win the Big 12?
No, not yet. Okay. Still a couple months.
I was going to say, well on their way, though. Well on their way.
They are. Okay. I do have one last thing I wanted to add before we go. You know who had another home run this week?
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And might find themselves getting called up if we get more players with a vid.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you go, Joe?
I feel like I'm gonna need a limit on how many times I can press the sound bites during a show, so the sake we don't lose an audience. But that was, Sydney's first time on the show. She loves hearing it. I had to make sure we played it once. But yeah, absolutely. Jose Barrero continues to have a great time in Louisville. We're definitely enjoying it. But thank you all so much. What a fun week this is going to be for us all here at the Riverfront family. If you're not subscribed to us on Patreon, now's the time to do it. So please come hang out with us. Oh, Mr. Juan hanging out. What's up, buddy? How are you? Good to see you.
I'm Mr. Juan.
If you're at the game Saturday, come meet up with us. I think we're going to be hanging out probably around the stacks. So we'll be over there. Ben Brown does like when people buy him beers. So if you have $27 to spare.
I was going to say what?
Yeah. I mean, I too enjoy free beers, especially at the ballpark where they're $100.
Ben, will you be buying the beer bat?
What is it, like $70?
Probably.
I was going to say,
I believe it's $15.
I would much rather do like a barbecue nacho or something like that.
Yeah, fry box.
Yeah, something like that.
The lamest thing is you have to you get the beer bat, and it's just the beer bat. You have to buy the beer separately.
Yeah,
that's the lamest part of it.
Oh, that's
lamest part.
That's awful.
It is. I have to spend like $30 on a beer bat.
Come on.
Just so we're all aware, I did do it.
Come on, Reds. Do better. Do better.
Oh boy.
I mean, how else are we gonna afford Shohei? Come on.
That's a great point. That's a great point. When I buy beers, I'm gonna be like, "This is for Shohei Ohtani."
Shohei Ohtani, future Cub.
All right. Well, I better wrap this up for this gets out of control again. Thank you guys so much for hanging out this week. Thanks for Sydney for joining us this week. It's been a lot of fun.
Sydney, awesome. Thank you.
Keep checking out the Riverfront this week. A ton of fun. Everyone have a good one. We'll see you all this weekend. Can't wait.